Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for Tuesday, December 14. So around Christmas time, we'll probably take the break off late next week, maybe from Thursday or something like that, and we'll take a week off, up until New Year's, and we'll come back after New Year's. Anyway, I'm still just sort of mulling it over, and I'll get the other guys that are doing the Elliott Wave counts to have some time off over at least that week, and I'll just keep an eye on the markets, and if I need to put out a video, I'll put out a video. But anyway, I was just still mulling that over, but we'll probably take that week off, probably from next Thursday or something. I'll just check on the calendar and come back maybe the 2nd or 3rd or something, whenever the Monday or Tuesday is, or whatever after New Year's. So but yeah, so I'll keep an eye on the markets and put out a video here and there and just try to cover anything that's important, Okay, so for the Russell here, we've got wave 3 and we're looking for an A and a B and a C for wave 4. What I have been a bit, the B wave is a little bit small and never reached 50%. It's pulled back from this low to this high here. It's pulled back 78.6. So it's possible for it to move up here before moving down, or it's only going to move a little way up and then start to move down in a couple more legs here. I'm a little bit unsure about this. I haven't given it a great deal of thought. My attention's been on other markets, but let's just go in and have a little look. So yeah, we've counted down for wave A here, and then an A and a B and a C, so it's all sort of fitting, but just didn't reach its target. And this current move down here is at 78.6 of this here, so it can toss and turn here, but at the same time it's also the 2-2 here. It's giving a well, really a setup for the short side. So it can rally back to that point and then drop. It can also rally above that here and have some sort of ABC above that, but you can short that there and that'll take us down. There'll be obviously support at the 2150, but it'll take us down further. But once it breaches this, then we'll see it move down to that point. But if it doesn't, then it can move up to here and then move down. So it's a little bit annoying at this point for this. So we're expecting the S&P and the NASDAQ to pull back either this session or next session. So there is a bit of downward pressure for the markets at this point. It does seem that I can count this as 5 waves to this point and to this point here. I haven't quite resolved that, but it's still, it can be an A and then a B and a C to this point. So anyway, if you're going to short it, then anywhere close to the low here, probably up a little bit further, and you can short it in there as well. It just depends on how this plays out here. So anyway, I don't have a very clear picture for the Russell and the NASDAQ here. So I think I might talk about the SP 500 first, and then come back to this market. So I think that's what I'll do today. So with the S&P here, we've been looking at it in a few different ways. I have also been looking at it as a wave 3 top here, which can be this wave 3 here. And if this was the same as the NASDAQ, would be looking for this as an A and a B and a C wave pulling down, and this degree of structure, or 1 degree smaller. Not that it makes a big difference at this particular point in time. That would also need to change there as well as wave 3. But look, what I'm trying to do here, let's just go back a little bit further. Let's just go back here. This is a bit of a longer term count here, which I kind of like, and the reason I like this for is because it's making the wave 3 here a bit longer. If I go back a bit further, just to the weekly chart for a moment, just to shoot the breeze on this a bit. So I've had the wave 3 here. Well, this is this little yardstick here. This is the length of wave 1. So if I grab the length of wave 1, which is this one here, and put it on the low of wave 2, roughly here, then it brings us up to this point here. So I'm kind of, we've got equality, because normally when we're looking at the markets, I would see wave 3 come up to, just get rid of this for a moment, we don't need that there. Yeah, normally it would be wave 3 that comes up here, wave 4 that pulls back here, and then wave 5 that moves up through there. And I kind of like that because, when you look at the capital markets and it's kind of suggesting yield curves in 2023 will cause problems, and that's when we can have a top in place at that point. So yeah, I just think there's sort of more upside. So I'm thinking that we could put wave 3 here, or we can put wave 3 up here further, where I kind of prefer it to be, and that way we have wave 3 here longer than wave 1. So yeah, I feel good about this particular count. It's just that we just got to be careful, and just continue to work for it. I know that the markets will obviously hit the 5,000, the 4,000. What's that there? 4,800, our next real sort of level there. We've just passed the 4.5. So we've got support on the 4.5. It was resistance, arrival, reaction, first high above the level, the ABC pattern here. So it's got that nice support there on that level. Now it needs to approach the 48. So they're the levels that we need to go through. So I'm just going to keep an open mind about this here. But at the same time, we need to be a bit diligent within what we're doing here. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that wave 3 there. Even if I had, just forget about that for a moment. Even if I had, we've either got this up as wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2, and we're sort of moving higher at that point, and that will take us up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave up here. But I think it can just be the third up here. That's what I'm sort of thinking at this point. We need to be a little bit careful because, and we're doing all the right things at all the right time. Just because I haven't settled in on a large account yet, it doesn't sort of really matter, because we're here to make money, and I can say to you that, well, this pattern here is corrective, right? So at some point we'll be up here. So if you're holding ETFs and things, well, then continue to hold them, of course. It's just the short-term trend traders that we need to satisfy. So there is a possibility that this could be this wave 4 or this wave 4 coming back into this space. Right, so that means that we can have this down here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming back into this space. At the same time, we've been tracking this up here as wave 1, as you know, and then looking back for a wave 2. Now, with this scenario, we can go, this wave 2 will be an ABC pattern, so we can just go long above the B wave. And then that will keep us safe, because if the market is going to work lower and come back into here, into either one of these wave 4s, well, then we're not going to get triggered on our long trade, on our B wave trade there. So let's just go in and talk about that a little bit further. So we're kind of lucky, really, in a way. Let's just clear this off for a moment. I need to talk about this whole trend, okay? So I'm going to come back to that. But let's just assume for a moment that this top is in play, and this is roughly the 61.8% here. So that means that we can look at this here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. So if the market, it does look quite impulsive here. We'll check all this out in a moment. But, if it moves down through here and then has a rally, and then moves down again, well, then quite clearly what it's going to do is it's going to leave us that point there to go long on. And then we can hold long from here all the way to 5,000 at that point, and we can continue to build in on that. So that's a nice looking, trend that we can move in on, I don't know why I got 2 there, but So that's always been our plan, and that's what we're going to do. And then if the market's going to pull back down here for a wave 4, so wave 3 up here, wave 4 here, well then this is not going to be breached here. The market's just going to kind of keep on working lower at that point. So we know this move here is corrective as an A and a B and a C. Now it can be that it's just the A wave here, and then we've got a B wave up here, and then we've got the C wave down here. But like I said, it doesn't really matter because we're going to catch it. We're going to catch it anyway on that B wave. So we just need to refine that. So now we need to refine this trend here a little bit to understand that a bit better. So with that, we're just going to cruise into the hourly chart. This is where we were yesterday. And so for the bullish move, let me just clean this up a little bit. So for that bullish move, we'd be looking at, let's just call the A wave down here for a moment. Maybe it'll bounce off that support there. But anyway, the B wave hasn't come in yet. And we haven't got the C wave yet. So it's kind of shaping up there, but we don't, obviously we don't have it yet. And we would go long above that, wherever that B wave comes in. Whoops-a-daisy. So we're looking down here and then back for the B wave and here, and this is where we go long over here. Now we can get a better position, but I'll need to gather some more information. So one of the things that we could do is we could go long on the 4650, which is the lower end of group 2, minor group 2, 65, 72 and 80 here. So that's a possibility. We could get a little classic trading levels pattern here, and we could go long at that point. So there's a few things that we can do here. Once it populates the pathway here, then I'll nail it down in tomorrow's video, and we'll keep working on it. But that's what we've been working on, haven't we? I mean, we've been looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to here, and then an ABC pattern. We're going to go along here. So we're kind of getting closer and closer to it. Okay, so it's all looking good. But at the same time, as you know, we can go lower into that, based on this NASDAQ count here for this. It would be a stronger case if we had 5 waves down to this A wave here, but we don't. We have 3 waves here, so we could label this a WXY, but I'll just stay with the ABC at the moment. It hasn't rocked any boats in that point. But this may not be true, this may just pop down here and then climb back up here as well. So we need to be prepared for that upwards direction as well in all of this. So all of this is looking pretty good. There's a few things that we need to take a look at. Let's just go to the tick chart here for a moment. On the tick chart, it doesn't count very well as 5 waves up through to here. So this is also partly this is a CFD product, so contracts for difference. So it kind of runs off the cash market during that session, and then the futures market in the other session, but also a calculation of fair value into that as well. So a bit of a tricky sort of situation, but it doesn't count very well on the tick chart for 5 waves here. But because we've made a new high here on that, we need to lock that 5th wave in. So let's just take a look at that. Bring in a bit more data. Is 10 enough? Yep. So from the low here, we've got 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th wave and 5th wave. I put that there because it seems to be higher on the cash market at that point for that one. Not so much the futures, but the cash market. Only by just by a little bit. But yeah, so this is all a little bit complicated, as you would expect a wave 4 to be, but I can count 5 waves from this move here. I mean, yesterday we were looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 and 5, so I didn't get it right. So anyway, there's complications in here. This move down through here this counts okay as 5 waves, and now we're taking out this on the clothes. So once again, we sort of missed that a little bit, so that can go there. I mean, technically I was going to mention that we can go short under this move here. So you can still do that. We don't need that there. Delete that. But that's sort of where we are at the moment. I won't say to go long just here yet. I mean, there is the possibility based on this particular structure here that this wave 4 here can sit over here, and all of this becomes the A wave, ABC for the B wave, and down for the C wave here. But taking that low out there is going to finish that off, and that's why I also had a possible wave 5 and one up here to play out one more move up there, but I don't think that's the case. So now that this is sort of breaking down here, but even if it does move to the upside, let's just say it does, but we'd just look for 5 waves up there, and then it would come down at that point. So probably not, but just needed to mention that a bit because of all of this. Yeah, so we'll either come down for wave C here, or we'll be stopping at wave 2. Now, this market doesn't need to put, this is the 50-60% retracement level, it doesn't need to come all this way down here, it just needs to deliver 5 waves in this next move here. So we can, the first thing that we can normally do is look for equality. So in this case, we can just move that, and that will take us down into this space. So we can put that 46 in there. And then we have, at the moment, we've got support in group 2. So I'm just going to put group 1 in here. So between 600 and 700, all the numbers that you need to remember is 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. So 1, 2, and 3 make up group 1. 5 is the midpoint, and then number 8 here. And when we talk about 8, we talk about group 2. So we got 65, 72, and 80 in here. You can see that it's a good support. If the 80, I mean, normally when we're working with, say, a large number like 47 here, then group 1 above and group 2 below, that's just the natural swing range. If group 1 up here develops support, then we go long, and with a classic trading levels pattern on that top of group 1. And if this area here, group 2, becomes the resistance, then we know it's leaving the 47 to the downside. If it gets support here, we know it's leaving 47 to the upside. So that's the swing range. And once you understand that, then a lot of this noise in here, you can just accommodate and say, well, it's still within its range. And, you know, this could be at 48, it could be at 47, 45, anywhere. Do you know, it doesn't matter what number you get, you can always get a group 1 above and a group 2 below the number that you're working with, you know, even if it's this number in here. You know, so it's just degrees of fractals. Okay, so it does appear that we're heading down for wave C here. There will be 5 waves coming down here, and it probably means I won't do it today, but we can look to go long above there. But it's just a little bit short, this B wave, so I'll need to want to check that against the NASDAQ as well. But when we come tomorrow, we'll have this move to work with, and then we'll have any move to the upside, and we can start working that. But at the same time, remember that it can move down here, so don't do anything too quick. You've got to do everything at the right time with the right amount of risk allocated. So let's just go back to the NASI for a moment. So there is the possibility that we can come down for wave 4 here. It's a bit of a long shot, and it's probably not the case, but we've had it there, so I'm going to leave it there because it hasn't really been invalidated. But at the same time, I can't remember what I've updated here, so I'll just cruise in and have a look and make any adjustments that we need to. So on the S&P, this is the high, but on the NASDAQ and on the cash market, this is the high here. So we'd need to continue to leave that over here. It doesn't really give us a nice 5-wave structure down here. This will be 5 waves. So yeah, I'm not sure just how to count that for a moment. I don't know if we should put that over there. bit of a tricky one, but once again we're looking at it as wave 3 up here and also wave 1, so this would be wave 2 here. So yeah, it doesn't really help us that much at this stage, but what we can do at this point is we can be long above here. Now I know that's a long way from the black stump, so to speak, but that's that. This level here is 50% between two medium levels, so it's played up quite nicely. And this little line in here is 50% between these two numbers where it found support. So it's a bit of a Gann trick, that one, I have to say. That's where I learnt it from. But he doesn't say that, but you just have to work it out yourself with him. He doesn't give much away. Yeah, so, well, the interesting point here, I guess, is that that would be the 50-60%, which I'm just going to double check now, but we'll just move these out the way a little bit. So even though we're tracking 2 counts, you know, it doesn't really matter. We could be tracking 3, but the point is that at some point, the market reveals itself. That's okay, so that's all good, just double checking. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could look at this as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave, but I can't do that on the S&P, and they'll move the same. So we'll probably have to look at this move down. Oh, could we? I'll just go to the tick chart. We'll probably have to look for something like this to be realistic, and then this one here can be brought down to that point, because we have to be aware that this wave C could play out, and we can come down here further with all of this. And it's kind of good for a correction, because this first leg here is, well, I could say that that's complicated and that's simple. So complicated, simple, complicated. So let's just cruise in here and get a better idea of all of this. Okay, so I have labelled it like that. Okay, so that would be the bearish picture at this point. So with wave B here, we'd have to look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, because it's lower, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So this is giving us the deeper move in here for this. We left that trend line in there. I'll just leave it there for a little bit later. But we're going to get a bounce off the 16 here anyway for that. The question is do we put this little wave 2 in through there? So we'll have to check on that, and then that would give us wave 3 to the downside at that point. And then 4 and 5 for wave 3. Wave 3 normally comes to the previous low over here, and then that normally gives us a pretty complicated wave 4 as it sorts itself out, and then down for wave 5. So we don't know if this is going to occur. It's something that we've had on the table, but we need to respect it. And at the same time too, if we've got this low in place and just take that high, we also know that there will be support here. Well, there's lots of support there, isn't there? The 50%, the trend line, and the 16,000. So let's just go in and try to understand this little guy here. So on the 100 ticks, we'll have a look. Okay, well, that was it then. Could look at it as the ABC. That would keep it in line with the S&P at that point. I've got it as wave 1 here. It still didn't make a new high, so it's a bit. So this is a little bit dangerous of me doing this. Let me just squash this in a bit further. So this is lined up with the S&P really. So 1 and 2 here and 3 here, and wave 4 here, and then looking at this as wave 5, but we didn't make a new high here. but the S&P did. So I've got this in line with the S&P, so that's kind of interesting. I just want to check this again here. I'm just going to have to go to a 10-tick chart to go over that. Just to be sure. So that's all of the wave 1 in here, but we also have that 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here, so it's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's probably going to bring us into this space here. So if I can just label that 1 ABC for 2, that's kind of okay. Can we look at this as 3? It looks a little bit short. We'll just check the distance on that in a moment. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. In this case, I'll just use this. It's just a tad longer than this wave 5, so that's okay in that regard. So that would be our 5 waves. Could I look at this in any other way? Could I look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and then wave 4 here? That's also a goer, isn't it? So that changes things a little bit. Let me see how that, because this didn't pull back up very far, did it? So if I took that from that point, that brings us right in on the 38. I think we might need to do that, you know. So we need to understand this trend better now. Feels a bit better having this longer third wave, I must say. Let's just have a closer look at this. Well, that's definitely the third. I won't burn your time up with this. It hasn't popped out at me just yet, but kind of looks okay. So that means that this move here can bounce back on us, so just be careful about that. So this will be 1 and 2 in here. This will be 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we're close to this now, so that will be 3. This will be 4 coming back up into that space, and then 5 down here. So yeah, look, that's where the bounce is going to come from. So we can view this as wave 1 or wave A at this point, and then wave B back here. The wave B will come back to that this wave 4 here in some sort of little once it finishes off here, it'll be down here somewhere, and then we'll get some sort of A, B and C wave coming in here and then down at that point. So we can't go long above that thing at this stage. We can't go long here, and that's probably wrong, so we're going to push that down to here and bring that over to here. Put these over here, and that will be that. And then we're going to borrow these, which we'll put here, 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 and there. Not quite finished yet. So if I take this top and we take it down to the 16,000, it may not get there, but you can make the adjustments for that. And then this can come back up into this space. Alrighty, well we got through that, didn't we, a bit, but I still need to double check on that in there. You can check on that too. But that's where we are. So we're just going to wait for the B wave and then the C wave. We can always go long above here. We know that's okay, so we're not going to miss much at that point. What we will need to do is we'll need to work this structure up here. We want the first 5 waves. It'll be nice if it drops below the level here. I mean, it'll come down, bounce off it, then come through it. Then we need to see 5 waves up here, and then we'll have some sort of ABC pattern, and then we can get our first position in here for that, and then we can build in here if it looks good. We need to get to break even and build on that point there and so on through there if that's going to be the case. But we don't need to go there just yet. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. We have to be really careful here because this is where this can turn into wave 3 here, and it can come down, bounce off this, come through it, retest it even a couple of times or whatever, catch us out and then drop. So we have to be very clear about this setup in here, and it doesn't have to be a full position. We can look to build on that through here if that's going to be the case. You know what I mean? It's just that I don't want to miss that because that's the thing that's going on at the moment. Alrighty, I'll leave it like that. The S&P will be doing the same thing in this case as well. Alrighty, cheers.